Hello, welcome to a new episode in the FLTK Rust series. In this episode, we'll be looking at the FLTK table crate, which is a new crate which aims to reduce the boilerplate needed to create a table or a spreadsheet. If you check, for example, the spreadsheet example in the FLTK repo, you'll notice there's a lot of boilerplate. Basically, you have to set the rows, the columns, you have to override the draw cell method using closure, and in each context you would do a specific call to a draw function. And here we have the draw functions, for example, where you basically need to push a clip, do your drawing, and then pop the clip. And you can see this is a lot of boilerplate. So the FLTK table crate seems to be basically a boilerplate-less implementation for tables. So we'll just import this and run a build, or go run. And you can see I have basically a main function here where we show just a simple window. We don't do anything, no tables for the moment. And to basically start using the FLTK table crate, you can just import the necessary tables or structs. So we have the smart table, and we have the table opts, where you can pass options for your table. And here, if you try to instantiate the table, so let's say let table equals smart table, and this has basically the same constructor as any other FLTK widget, which is the new constructor where you pass the x, y, and the width, height, and the label. Or you can pass use the default constructor with size, let's say, so this is 590, 490, and center of parent. So if we run this, so you can see the outlines of our table here. Okay, so this needs to be a bit smaller. And the magic happens when we pass the options for our table. So let's here pass, for example, the options. So let's say center of parent, and here with opts. And this takes a table opts struct, which is a struct that implements default. So let's just pass, for example, default. So this gives us a table with one row and one column. And you can see that we can't edit this table. So we want to increase the rows and columns. So let's say rows, for example, 10. Oops. Columns 10. And you can start seeing something here. And we still can't edit this. And if we pass editable, true, now we can edit the table. So it's as simple as that. You can also pass, you can also change the data. For example, let's say here our table, so let's make it mutable. And here let's say table set cell value. Let's take, for example, 0, 0, and let's say, for example, my val. And you can see the entered value here. You can also fill it using a loop or an iterator, for example, for I in 0 to, for example, 10. So the first value here is the row, and the second value is the column. So let's say I plus j, it's a string. And you can see we filled our table here. And then we set the first column and row to my val. And you can see this is 0 based. You can also change the heading. Here, these are the headings for our columns, the headings for our rows. And we can set this. And so let's say, for example, you've noticed here that our columns basically have A, B, C, whatever. You can change this, for example. So let's say for I and 0 to 10, table set column header value and pass I, and the value here, let's say I to string. And we've changed the setting, the value of the headers themselves. You can do the same thing for the rows. And as well, you can also pass, for example, styles to your table. So let's say, for example, the cell, let's say border color, let's say white, color white. Just implement this, import this, enums. So you can see the borders are now white. We can change also the frame type for our headers. So this is a thin up frame. We can make it, for example, a header frame type, let's say flat box. And you can see this is a flat box now. You can also change the selection color, for example, cell selection color, let's say color red inactive. And if you want to modify it, you can just add the editable. Also, you can basically, if, let's say for example we pass editable here, true. So you can change this, for example, and if, for example, you press escape, this will close the window. You can override this, so it just escapes the cell. So when set callback, close, and just say here app quit. So now when we, for example, try to change this, and we press escape, this just exits. And you see we have keyboard navigation as usual. So that was basically it for this video. You can see the code is fairly simple. Basically the idea is that the table widget holds the data itself as it owns the data, which is a string matrix, a vector of strings. You can still have access to that string, for example here. So let's say here, just some value, let's say 5, 6, my val. You can get the data itself using the data method. So for example, we can print line table data. Oops. Yeah, sorry. So this should basically print after closing the window. You can see here we get the data, and we can see my val here. And that was basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you can try the FLTK table crate. Thanks for watching. Bye.